Picture this. A group of powerful men are desperate to avoid a fight with one another. They hold a private meeting and painstakingly work out a solution. Crisis averted, at least in their eyes. But their solution unfortunately totally undermines the lives of a vast number of people they have never met nor consulted. This summarizes exactly what took place in Berlin in 1884 and 1885. The essential questions for this presentation are: what motivated the Europeans to attend this conference? What did they do? And finally, what were the implications of these actions? Now, there once was a man called Leopold who was the King of Belgium. In the ultra-competitive world of late 19th century Europe, he became obsessed with enhancing his small nation's standing. He was also interested in making a personal fortune. His solution? Carve out a personal empire in the Central African rainforest, an area of the world untapped by his powerful European neighbors. By the early 1880s, Leopold and Belgium had created a massive de facto colony in the heart of Africa called the Congo Free State. Today, it's the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Leopold's brash actions were part of a larger phenomenon called the New Imperialism. This was rapid industrialization, not just in Europe, but also in the US and Japan. This was a competition to obtain new territory for resources and markets. Africa was viewed as a raw materials gold mine, literally, and a largely pristine one at that. Of course, there was the typical justifications for imperialism. Europeans were going to improve the lot of poor Africans unaware of European industrial marvels. And also there was the Great Commission to preach the gospel to the unsaved. But make no mistake about it, the motivation for imperialism was primarily profit. Of course, the other motivation for imperialism was paranoia. The thinking was, if we don't claim parts of Africa, our greedy neighbors will. This paranoia is what worried the Chancellor of Germany, Otto von Bismarck. Bismarck was the master of the political art that Taoists call crafty dexterity. He orchestrated and manipulated people and events. In the 1880s, Germany was in a dominant position in Europe. The last thing that Bismarck wanted was a conflict to erupt over the spoils in Africa. This could upset all he'd worked for and could undermine Germany's dominant position. So in 1884, he was able to convince all the major European powers to come to Berlin, compromise for the greater good, and then literally slice up an entire continent and divvy it out. The European powers successfully avoided war. The European powers successfully carved up an entire continent. Here is the product of their efforts. The impact of this Eurocentric map can still be seen in the modern map of Africa. Even though there are now more nations, many of the regions still bear the cultural footprint of their former colonizers. But the tragedy of the Berlin Conference was that not one African representative attended. European solutions were applied to a European problem. The result was the fracturing of a continent. European lines of demarcation paid zero attention to the implications of herding rival groups together and splitting loyal groups apart. The conference also greenlighted a systematic and shameful exploitation of a continent, largely for European profit.